noticed.
I was like, oh, wow.
Hey!
Would you mind moving back? You're in my personal space.
Valley Guard Police, run away! Hello everyone, I'm Keen947, aka Wolfkeen, and welcome to another edition of my My Little Pony Vlogs for Season 2. Today, I'm talking about Putting Your Hoof Down, written by Meriwether Williams, and a story done by Charlotte Fullerton. Now I know you're about to ask, what do you mean by that? I did some research on this subject. Apparently Meriwether Williams was the one who was supposed to do this episode, but due to a complication in her life, I don't quite remember the details, but due to a complication in her life, the story was passed to Charlotte Fullerton, and she was the one who was supposed to finish the story of the episode. And I'm just going to say this right now. This episode is fucking horrible. This is one of the worst episodes of the entire series. And it's for multiple reasons, because the way this story is written and the way it's presented to us, this story hands down assassinated a character that I actually liked for a long time. And this was the episode that dropped this character from top 3 to my hated category for quite a while. But let's get into it. The episode starts with Fluttershy basically feeding her animals at her house. Then she gets to Angel Bunny, where she tries to feed him some of the pellets that she was feeding the other animals, where he proceeds to flip the bowl right onto her head. Was that kind of warranted? She could have just easily thrown the bowl away instead of flipping it onto her head. Whatever. So Fluttershy tries to give him a salad, and he does not want the salad. So then we get, Angel Bunny shows Fluttershy what he wants in the picture, and Fluttershy tries to get him to eat the salad again, which we get this scene.
Oh, are you sure I can't tempt you with a nice crisp piece of...
Was that supposed to be funny? Was that supposed to be funny? That, he slaps the leaf off her hoof, smacks her in the face, and then smacks her in the face with a book. Like, how is that supposed to be funny? That's not funny. That's... That right there made me hate Angel Bunny. When I saw that, it was like... Was that necessary? So we see Fluttershy head to the market where she's trying to get all of the ingredients for the special meal for Angel Bunny, which... Fuck that little shit for being like that. And Fluttershy is shown at this moment to be, as Rarity and Pinkie Pie explain it and demonstrate it, a doormat. What that means is that she's a pushover. That, like, she lets herself get pushed around too easily. She's not very assertive, and she just lets things go too easily when, in reality, it's, ponies are taking advantage of her, basically, because of her being a doormat. And it's been proven in the beginning of this episode. So, Rarity and Pinkie try to tell Fluttershy to get a little more assertive. Like, try not to be such a doormat. So, of course, the last piece of asparagus gets taken away, and Rarity shows one method of not being a doormat, which is coaxing. That's a stereotype girls like Rarity are always like, right? You just basically reinforce this stereotype. And not to mention they had the nerd stereotype being coaxed by the pretty sophisticated woman stereotype. I thought this show was good at breaking stereotypes, not reinforcing them. So now we move on to tomatoes, and when Fluttershy tries to pay for the tomatoes, apparently there's been a price increase. So Fluttershy goes to pay the price increase, but Pinkie Pie goes against it, and does, admittedly a funny scene with the Bugs Bunny gag, where she's like, 2 bits, 1 bit, 2 bits, 1 bit, 1 bit, 2 bits, 1 bit, like the Bugs Bunny switcheroo gag. And I won't lie, that is funny, and that is a classic joke, but the humor in this episode does not last long. So then, of course, she moves on to the final item, which is, of course, a cherry, where this guy is asking an obscene amount of price for a single cherry. 10 bits. Like Mysterious Mr. Enter said, what the hell? Every pony in this episode is an asshole. Like, 10 bits for a cherry? 10! That's like asking $5 for these pair of shades. Actually, that's very viable in New York, but I digress. So Fluttershy tries to not be a doormat, and she tries to coax the guy, does not work. Then she tries to do the little haggling, aka Bugs Bunny gag, and she ends up putting more money into the pot. At one point, she's like, I will pay 11 bits. And the guy's like, 11? And she's like, no, 9. And then she says 12. And then, of course, Pinkie Pie's just burying herself. So they tell her to refuse. She wants to get the cherry. He charges 20. She can't do it. And then one pony buys it for 2 bits. So Fluttershy brings the ingredients minus the cherry to Angel Bunny, where she makes his special meal. And, of course, Angel Bunny notices there's no cherry on it, throws the thing out the window, and I think Fluttershy got thrown out by him as well. Okay, where's my gun? I want to hunt this freaking rabbit. Where's Elmer Fudd? I think Elmer Fudd would be a great guy to help me kill this rabbit. So Fluttershy has, this flyer knocked in her face, which is supposed to be an assertiveness training in the Hedge Maze Center. So she goes to the assertiveness training, where she proceeds to get punted from the front of the group all the way to the back. Seriously, why is everyone in Ponyville an asshole all of a sudden? Didn't we just get an episode in A Friend Indeed where everyone was friendly? What happened to that, Ponyville? And we get introduced into, in my opinion, one of the greatest one-shot characters of all time, Iron Will. Holy crap, do I love this guy, Iron Will. This guy is amazing. Because, one, it shows that there are other sentient races besides ponies. We got an idea of this with cows and other stuff like that, but he's a Minotaur. I love this idea of him being a sentient Minotaur who's basically channeling the, the personality and strengths of Hulk Hogan, Mr. T, and The Rock. I mean, seriously, he's like all three of those guys in a bundled package. I mean, he does the little, freaking Hulk Hogan. He has the attitude like The Rock, and he has, the same, catchphrases like Mr. T,
But I pity the fool who doubts Iron Will's methods. You don't doubt me, do you?
I love this guy. It's amazing. This guy's amazing. Too bad he gets shafted within the episode, though, and that really bugs me. So what happens is that Iron Will picks Fluttershy to demonstrate the assertiveness and teaches Fluttershy, a couple of assertiveness things, which we don't get to see. Okay. So the next day, Fluttershy is trying to be a little more assertive. This guy is overwatering her flowers, so she decides to water him by holding the hose and making him spray himself with water. Warranted. I mean, if someone was overwatering my flowers as well, I probably would have done the same thing. Then you have some ponies who were blocking the road with their trash carts, which Fluttershy proceeds to kick it and drop it on top of them. Yeah, if you're not going to move your cart so I can walk down the road. I know people say, oh, Fluttershy could fly. Why didn't you do that? They're still blocking the road. What about the next pony that has to deal with them? And then, of course, she goes to Sugar Cube Corner, where one of the ponies cuts in line on her, and she proceeds to berate her for that one. Again, warranted. Because if someone was to cut in line on you, you would grab them and be like, get to the back of the line before I hurt you. Get me? You would be like that too. So she goes to see Rarity and Pinkie Pie, who are apparently in Pinkie Pie works at Sugar Cube Corner, but why is Rarity there? Whatever. So Pinkie Pie does a little bit of a joke and begins to laugh, and then Fluttershy proceeds to drop punch on her, all because she laughed. Oh boy. Next thing we see is Fluttershy calls for a cab, and then some pony tries to take the cab from her, where she proceeds to beat the poor guy up and throw him out the cab, and then you see her just score no pony messes around with you, Fluttershy! No pony! And then, I won't lie, that is a little funny, that scene, because the cab driver's reaction, but it's showing that Fluttershy is in Flutter Rage mode at this point, and it does not stop there. It does not stop there. So Rarity and Pinkie are trying to find a way to help her. So Fluttershy continues her day, and she gets the wrong mail again, and she goes to the guy to tell him that she got the wrong mail. Instead of just accepting it as a mistake because it's a mistake, he gets stuck in the mailbox, she puts a stamp on him, and he gets mailed. What? And then what makes it worse is that this guy was asking Fluttershy how to get to the, to the bell tower, she drops her letter by accident trying to talk to the guy and blames him for what happened, and then takes him by the camera and chucks his ass into a hay bale where his camera bounces off the bell tower. Dude, what the hell? Like, really, what the hell? He didn't even do anything to you. That's like if someone was talking to me and I dropped my ice cream by accident and I punched him in the face for it because, screw it! So Pinkie Pie and Rarity try to approach Fluttershy for her actions, and oh my god, this is the scene that made this episode irredeemable in my eyes. This was the scene that made this episode irredeemable in my eyes. Because Fluttershy begins, talking down on her friends to the point where she says, to Pinkie Pie, things getting too complicated for your simple little brain, Pinkie Pie? When I heard that line the first time, I was like, did she really just insult her friend like that? And then, of course, Rarity tries to defend her, try to talk her out of this, saying, let's not descend into petty insults. And then she's like, why not? I thought petty is what you're all about, with your petty concerns about fashion. That line got me angry, because I'm like, did you just say that did you just call her petty? First you called Pinkie Pie simple-minded, and now you're calling Rarity petty. And then, of course, Pinkie Pie tries to defend Rarity, where she's now crying. Yes, Fluttershy made Rarity cry. And then, she says, fashion is her passion. And she's like, oh, what are you passionate about, Pinkie Pie? Birthday cakes? Party hats? And I believe I'm saying this line correctly. It's like, I can't believe the two most frivolous ponies in all of Ponyville are telling what new Fluttershy to do when they are throwing their own lives away on pointless pursuits that no pony gives a flying feather about. You realize what Fluttershy just said here, right, guys? Fluttershy insulted their reasons for living. And then Pinkie Pie and Rarity run away from her crying. This right here is what makes the episode irredeemable. Because there is no way I could believe Fluttershy would do this. Within the 2 seasons that we've seen so far, Fluttershy has never been shown to be like this. Okay, she has an angry side, yes, and she gets a little compulsive, yes, but not to this extent. It's never been shown that she's like this in any episode. And this bugs me to more ends because this is a character assassination. This one seed is a character assassination. Fluttershy's character is assassinated at this point. And it just bugs me that they did this. I mean, I understand that this was written by 2 different writers. Meriwether Williams was the one who wrote it, but the story was done by Charlotte Fullerton. This is a large mistake that they made. I don't know if Charlotte Fullerton wrote this in or if Meriwether Williams is. I don't know who's the one to blame because I really don't know. Don't worry, guys. I'm not going to insult them like I did Cindy Morrow. That was a mistake I made in my Showstoppers vlog. But I am going to have a resounding and loud, huh? When I watch this part. So Fluttershy finally realizes that she fucked up royally and goes back home where she has her windows boarded, door boarded, and basically tied behind a chair like this thanks to Angel Bunny. And then we get Rarity and Pinkie Pie saying that it's not her fault, it's Iron Will's fault why she's acting this way. Bull! The reason why I say bullshit is because of this one simple fact. We never saw it. Unless we saw Iron Will acting this way with Fluttershy, then we could believe it. But the thing is that I don't believe Iron Will would do this. I mean, seriously, do you really believe Iron Will would say, oh, if your friends go against you, go off on them on a hair trigger, tell them their lives are petty, tell them their reasons for living are petty and stuff like that? Do you honestly believe Iron Will would really do something like this? Like, honestly? If you want a good example of someone taking assertiveness too far, or using assertiveness for their own deeds. Look at the episode where Plankton tried to make SpongeBob become assertive so he could force all the beachgoers to leave so Plankton can create his new business called the Mega Bucket. That's an example of seeing what could happen, what outside influence could happen. We don't see Iron Will interact with Fluttershy besides that one scene. So there's no way I could believe Iron Will could do this. Especially in the next scene coming up where Iron Will, okay, he gets tricked by Pinkie Pie at one point. But then, of course, when he knows he's inside, Iron Will throws Pinkie Pie into the mud. People are like, oh, look, Iron Will's being evil. Not really. If someone's in your way, you're going to move them out their way now, aren't you? And then, of course, like, Iron Will rips the door, and then, like, he looks like he's about to smash it. Like, he rips the door, and he's like, how's he a monster if he did that? I mean, he got rid of the boards, and ain't just knocked on the door. He could have easily just broke it down. Of course, Fluttershy and Rarity before this talked to Fluttershy about she could stand up for herself without being mean about it. So Fluttershy is confronted by Iron Will, and she refuses to pay, because Iron Will wants his payment. And she even tells Iron Will, like, according to what you said, you have a 100% guarantee that you'll be satisfied, or you pay nothing. And she says it. I'm not satisfied. And then Iron Will kind of be like, what do you mean you're not satisfied? Every pony's satisfied. And then she says, like, well, I guess I'm the first. But because that's the case, I refuse to pay. It's as simple as that. And this is where it falls more into the area of Iron Will not being a monster. Because instead of getting angry at Fluttershy, he talks with his goat friends, I guess, and then tries to, do a deal with Fluttershy. Like, you're not at least bit satisfied? You didn't learn anything from me? Like, we could cut a deal or something like that. We're both reasonable creatures. And then Fluttershy says, I'm sorry, but no means no. And Iron Will leaves like that. He doesn't even try again. He's like, no means no, huh? Well, I can understand that. And he's like, you know what? I gotta use that as a catchphrase. That'd be great. How is Iron Will a monster again? And then we get the moral of the episode where Fluttershy learns that now she knows how to be, like, how to put her hoof down without being mean. Yeah, you did, Fluttershy. I don't know how you did it, but you did it. I'm just going to say this right now, guys. This is the worst episode of Season 2. There is no denying that factor. I know a lot of people will try to say Ne'er-Do-Well is a bad episode, but this one is bad in every sense of the word, because the story is horribly structured. The characters, besides even Rarity and Pinkie Pie, are out of character, where Fluttershy is amazingly out of character to the point that it's fan fiction levels of out of character. And I hate the fact that Iron Will gets blamed for something that he didn't even do. Like, he just taught Fluttershy this stuff. He didn't, like, here's the thing, guys. Here's something that I hold true. Someone could teach you something, but it's your job to take the lesson to the right direction. Like, say, like, I learned that, I learned in an assertiveness thing to not be so meek. Like, a confidence training. Say I went through confidence training, and they told me, don't be so meek. Be confident in what I say. Get me, like, they taught me that, but I take it too far. Is it my trainer's fault because of that, or is it my fault because I took it too far? In more cases, this is really Fluttershy's fault why she's acting this way. You could say Iron Will is at fault here, but it's not his fault. Iron Will taught her what she needed to learn. It's her fault that she took it too far. And what makes this episode so bad in many cases is that the way Fluttershy went against her friends on a hair trigger and basically insulted their reasons for living, there's no way I would want to be friends with someone like this. If I had a friend like this who did this to me, I just wouldn't know what to think about them. I probably wouldn't want to speak to them ever again. And I've had situations like this. So that's more than one reason why I hate this episode as well, because I've been on the receiving end of this. It's not a fun situation, because that one person you thought who was a great friend insults your reason for living. Now you really don't know what to think of them anymore. And that's really this is why after this episode, Fluttershy ended up in my worst characters area. And I don't think anybody can blame me for it. I mean, this is one of the worst episodes of Season 2, if not the whole series. So you'll be definitely seeing this in my least favorite category. Not much else for me to say. I am emotionally drained after this one, because Besides Showstoppers is the first time. This is one of the few times I've been so emotionally passionate about an episode, and this one drains me. So I'm gonna leave it at that, and I'm just gonna relax for a while. So guys, until next time, I'm Keen947, aka Wolfkeen. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, guys, take care.